Ohio State, Michigan, the game. I grew up on this game. I told you, Marshall Brown, my grandfather. I was a Michigan fan from birth. I went to many a Ohio State, Michigan game, and many a Michigan game, and grew up with Bo Schembechler as a family friend. Very fortunate. So I have a great deal of respect and like family memories, and every Saturday after Thanksgiving was spent on this game with my grandfather, with my family, and driving around and the M's crossed out everywhere and the flags hanging everywhere. So I love this game, and what's not to love? But Michigan has dominated it in recent years, but Ohio State has clearly been the better program in recent years. This is the McShay Show, presented by FanDuel, and college football Saturdays are heating up. Whether you're in for the early kick or the late night action, FanDuel lets you bet your way with the same game parlays, live betting, game props, and more. And Missouri, get excited because FanDuel is coming your way on December 1st. Download the app or head to FanDuel.com/McShay and make every Saturday count. Must be 21 and older and present in select states, or 18 and older and present in D.C., Kentucky, or Wyoming. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rg-help.com. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut. I thought it was, let's just start from the beginning. I thought it was critical that Michigan got out to an early lead in this game. Find a way to get out to an early lead, set some kind of a tone, get Ohio State nervous. Like, oh man, is this happening again?
Right.
And the snow's about to come, and this game could get mucky, and we get these Ferraris on the outside, and Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate, and we get this young quarterback
banged up, by the way, too. They're not banged up, healthy.
Yes, so a banged up pair on the outside. Snow's on the horizon. Let's get a lead and possess the ball, and let's make this as ugly as we want it to be. If you hear people screaming in the background, despite me begging them not to, it's some Fortnite Live, and it should be, although it might be Clemson. I don't know if Clemson's game's over already. But they did, and Michigan did, and they got the run game going early. The first team all season, since Texas, to rush for over 100 yards, and they get it rocking early on. Jordan Marshall, 4 for 61 rushing in the first 5 minutes of the game. Then Michigan gets the pick.
Mm-hmm.
And Michigan gets a little bit more yardage, but winds up with another field goal. So it's 6-0, but they've been deep in the zone of Ohio State twice, and they only get 6 points. And you have to wonder, is that going to wind up coming back to bite them, right? And then I thought Ohio State's response, right? After 6-0, after the interception, offensively to drive down the field, Bo Jackson, 36-yard run by Bo. And then they get down inside the 3-mensch.
Mm-hmm.
1 play stuffed, 2 play stuffed, 3 plays stuffed. Then it's now going to be 2 plays stuffed. Then it's going to be 3rd and goal. And Jayshon Barham, right?
Yep.
4 sacks on the season. He's been the second best pass rusher for Michigan.
Talented
dude, loses his mind. Freaks out on players, then turns around and headbutts the ref. Lucky to not be kicked out of the game.
Should have been kicked out of the game.
Agreed.
Lucky.
The letter of the law. Yep.
Yeah. See you later, man.
So, but that gives Ohio State a fresh set of downs. First down, stuffed. Second down, stuffed. Third down, stuffed. Go for it on 4th down. After the knee was down by saying on the push, they called it a touchdown, reviewed it, wasn't a touchdown. Here we're going again. Quarterback sneak, probably a touchdown. Flag. 5 yards. Now we got to kick field goal, 6-3. So far things are going really well for Michigan. They stopped him 6 times inside the 3-yard line. But then it started to happen. Jordan Marshall, the running back, injures his shoulder, doesn't come back in. Michigan still has some run game going, but the receivers and Sayin start to take off. And I think we learn more about Sayin in this game than in any other game that we've seen all season long. And despite his number, I don't even have the final numbers here. We can pull them up. I thought we learned an awful lot about him. And I also think, and I'll tell you now who my spotlight player of the day is. It's Bo Jackson.
Yeah. Yes. You didn't tell me that. I love it.
Bo
Jackson, he was the best player in that game.
He was the best player in the game. And also, you see the 22 carries, 117 yards. He averaged 5.3 yards against this run defense, had 4 catches for almost another 50, averaged over 12 yards per catch. I thought there were 2 reasons why he was not only statistically was awesome in this game. There were 2 things about his performance today that were incredibly important in my eyes. And I want to get your take on this. The first is the Michigan component of it. Because Sayin and Tate and Smith took over the game for a couple quarters. Second quarter, third quarter. You had the long touchdown catch by Jeremiah Smith. You had the long touchdown catch by Carnell Tate. 50 yards for Tate. I don't know what it was for Jeremiah Smith, but it was that inside-out route that was awesome, right?
It was unbelievable.
So
he fumbled out of the back of the end zone, but we won't talk about that.
Right. There were a couple errors by the officiating crew today.
It was bad. I think Ohio State still wins this game handily, by the way. So don't get all caught up in that, Michigan fans. But I thought it was a bad call.
Yeah.
Unbelievable route, though. That doesn't take away from the fact that route was sick. It was unbelievable.
But the reason why Bo Jackson was the most important player was that you saw that they got a lead and now they're up 2 scores. And you've asked the question, I've asked the question, and I know you've agreed. If there's one flaw in Ohio State, I don't know that they have the run game this year. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Do they have that back? Do they have Eddie George? Do they have Judkins? Do they have Henderson? Do they have what's his name? The Chargers and I'm going to blank right now.
Dobbins, J.K. Dobbins.
Yeah, J.K. Dobbins. Do they have that guy in-house, right?
Yep.
We know this talent. We know he's next, Bo Jackson. We know he's the future. But if we're going to make a run at this year, do we have that back when things get ugly and we need to, whether it's wear a team down, whether it's kill the clock late in the game? And to watch him in the fourth quarter take over this football game was hugely important because this has always been a rivalry. And in recent years about Michigan's just more physical.
Yeah,
Joe Moore award winner, defensive tackles last year. They just win in the trenches. They got all the athletes up in Columbus or down in Columbus, but we're the tougher, more physical team, right? And it goes back to Schembechler breaking yardsticks on the back of calves of offensive linemen, okay? That's been their identity forever. But late in this game, Ohio State was the more physical team, and Bo Jackson allowed them with his contact balance, his cutting ability, he obviously has great speed, but it's more than just that. So that's the first part. First part was the Michigan element of it. Can we shove it down their fucking throats in the fourth quarter with a lead? And the answer was yes. Then the second part of it is, all right, now we got to go to the college football playoff after this Big Ten championship game. And we got it back. And we should have seen the signs, but we didn't know to trust it. All right, because early in the year, it was 9 for 108 against Grambling. It was 9 for 109 against Ohio. It was 17, but for only 80 against Washington. 13 for only 63 against Illinois, against Minnesota. 10 for 47. 10 for 26 against Illinois and Wisconsin, respectively. But then something started to click against Penn State. 13 for 105. Purdue, 1475. UCLA, 15-112. Rutgers, 19-110. And you kind of, but you're still wondering, can he do it against Michigan? And to watch his talent and to watch his confidence, I think he completes this team. We know the defense is exceptional, and they proved it again today. 3 field goals allowed. We know the quarterback has developed. And today was obviously, we wanted to see what we saw today from Julian Sayin. He was outside of that first interception and kind of the first couple drives. He was flat out brilliant under these circumstances. But do they have the run game? And now I see it with Bo Jackson.
A couple things that I think are interesting. One is that you were talking about Bo Jackson. I think either after or before the Washington game. Of you did see this coming. You're not giving yourself enough credit. You did talk about Bo Jackson where they thought they're going to be. Two, I think it's interesting you talk about the physicality and don't mention the offensive line once in that statement. That's typical for you, so I'll go ahead and do it now. I wondered not only did they have the back, but did they have the offensive line? I made the same mistake last year. This offensive line is doing exactly what it did last year, which is playing its best football late in the season and really come together. And that is a bad sign for the rest of the playoff field. The other thing I want to say here is, how about Brian Hartline, man? You talk about the run game and you talk about being able to shove it down Michigan's throat. It seemed like, and I have a ton of respect for Chip Kelly, and I'm not going to kick a guy when he's down. Obviously, that did not go well for him in Las Vegas. But when you looked at this game last year, that seemed like their only goal in that game was to say, we can shove it down Michigan's throat and we're going to run into a brick wall over and over and over and over again. They didn't do that in this game. They did a great job with their balance and then wore out that Michigan front and then ran the ball late. It was a great game for Hartline. I think Hartline's been awesome this year. Even the Brendan Ennis touchdown catch, that play design at the end of the first half. I mean, holy shit, that was awesome. That was awesome. Needed to play in there. And the last thing I want to say is Ryan Day has gotten a lot of heat for this 4-game losing streak, and I understand it on some level, but he like last year was bad. He also lost to some really good Michigan teams, including a national champion Michigan team. So I think they got kind of lost in the mix and started just turning into a 4-game losing streak because last year was a bad loss. And it was, again, a bad loss. But I think Joel Klatt was dead on about what he said. Ohio State decided that they were going to be themselves coming into this game, and that's exactly what they did. They didn't try to change their identity like I had hinted at earlier and try to be this run-heavy team that was going to out-physical the team from the North. That's not what their goal was. Their goal was to win this game. And they were just themselves. They asserted themselves. They asserted the fact that they were the deeper, more talented team and just took care of business. And even though it's not like any other game, they handled it like any other game. And I think that was huge for them, considering all the mental hurdles they must have had going into it.
Yeah. I thought it was an awesome performance because it showed literally the only two complaints are with Ohio State all year long is, do they have the run game to balance it out when they need it? And we've gotten the answers recently, and it was confirmed today. And then also, how are they in adversity? Because we just don't know. And can they
win on the road against a good team? How good was that Texas team? Like, they answered a lot of questions for me today. That's a good Michigan team, by the way. Underwood's got a long way to go. You talked about it last week. You were dead on about it, and it showed up big time in the second half where he just was rushing everything, checking down, didn't look comfortable a lot in this game, didn't have his best game. They needed him to have his best game to compete. He'll be better, but it was not a great day for him.
And it was interesting, too, having Urban Meyer on Wednesday.
Yeah.
And listening to him as one of the founding fathers of the spread, kind of the option stuff and all this, I'm not saying he was the first, but he kind of took it to another level and throughout his career and kind of evolving and bringing in other offensive coordinators to mesh with his principles and all that. There's no denying that Urban Meyer has a great offensive mind. Okay. And to hear him talk about what he would try to do against Ohio State, I felt like I kind of trapped him into giving me a game plan that might work for Michigan against Ohio State, which is not something that he wanted to do. But sometimes when your mind just ticks like that, and he was talking about indicators.
Oh, it was a great question. Yeah, you want to know what he would do.
But it was a way better answer. The answer to the question of what when you've got a young quarterback and this defense is amazing and that defensively they're doing different things this year with Matt Patricia. What would be the approach? And he was like, as an offensive coach, it's about indicators. We're always looking for tips, and it's usually like the safeties and the rotations and what they do on certain downs and distances and find indicators. Go ahead.
Interestingly enough, on game day this morning, Saban was talking about the boundary safety when talking about reading Michigan's defense and what they do. These guys, football, it's funny when you get to that level, and I can't even imagine what that level is with the Sabans and the Myers of the world. It's such a simple game for them. And they both talk about it's
Yeah.
you have this great defensive coach and this great offensive coach. And what are you looking at? It's the boundary safety. And both of them hinted at or talked about that going into this game.
But Urban was saying, I'm having a hard time when watching Ohio State finding true indicators. Because
you know what was
go ahead.
It was interesting about that answer though is Urban was I think he was it was a great answer. But did you notice as the answer evolved, he started going, well, I'm going to run the ball at him. And when I run the ball at him, they're going to have to show their hand a little bit. And if they show their hand a little bit, now I got
in the second half. Yeah, but that's
a tough one, but I could crack it.
It was a simple question that trapped him a little bit, but it got him going down this road where he couldn't stop. And now he's talking about like, all right, but if I get him in game and get him into the muck a little bit, But like now they've given us tells. And in the second half, then we're going to adjust. So it got him going and showing the thought process, which I thought was fascinating. But he said initially what he would do is come out and he would run the hell out of Bryce Underwood. He said, I had an Underwood, a big, strong, physical, athletic, mobile quarterback. His name was Tim Tebow. And in games like this, we ran the hell out of him. Yeah. And early on, they were running the hell out of the ball, and Underwood had a couple carries, all that. But I think after that conversation with Urban, if you told him that night, when we were done, if we were like, hey, Herb, I'm going to tell you something. Underwood finishes with 6 for 1. Based off of that answer you just gave, what do you think? And he'd be like, yeah, no chance. And there wasn't. It's just interesting that Michigan didn't try to run Underwood more. It was a long way to get to what my point was. When I look up at that stat line and I see 6 carries for 1 yard, Ohio State clearly was expecting that. And Ohio State clearly put a lot of work in with Matt Patricia and this very smart, talented, but also I said this in week 1. You got to have a bunch of smart dudes. And we know that Styles is. And we know that Caleb Downs is. Extraordinarily smart, football smart. But you got to have a bunch of other guys that are pretty good to damn smart to pick up that NFL scheme and to make it look that polished and that confusing for a young quarterback in week 1, when you got 8 new starters and a new defensive coordinator, is not easy to do with the college football coaching time teaching time limitations. And to see them now evolve in week 14, but the 12th game of the regular season was pretty special to see. And they clearly were thinking the same way that Urban was. We got to run the quarterback. And Ohio State was like, we're not going to let you run the quarterback. In fact, we'll let your running backs get some yards. We're not letting you beat us on the ground. Beat us in the air. Your running backs, but we are going to squeeze the life out of your quarterback and his ability to run the ball. And it worked. And there was a flash or two of Underwood throwing that seam route to McCulley was awesome. The Donovan McCulley was an awesome throw.
Oh my God, yeah.
Even better catch. But and by the way, where was Andrew Marsh today? Was there an injury situation? He didn't have a catch. And he's there. He and McCulley are the 2 guys we talked about last week. So just an awesome job. Now let me ask you this question. Dan, get this ready. And I'm going back to you guys in the chat. Sorry, I've been on a rant today. I don't apologize. Been on a rant. And Matt Mateus wants Santa Mensch. And we're going to get him.
It's coming. It's coming.
This is the warm-up. This is like the first elf coming out on December 1st, Get this ready, Dan. Now, after watching that performance, and I'm not saying but Michigan was ranked 15. Michigan's a good team, and Michigan's been beating the hell out of Ohio State the last 4 years. After watching that Ohio State today, are you taking Ohio State or the field?
Oh, I'm taking Ohio State.
Hey, Tucker, let's find out FanDuel. Maybe we'll get back to it tonight if I bother mention his at his 30th reunion.
I'm hoping it happens, man.
Oh, I will. I can't help myself. And everyone on the chat, we just keep an eye out on social media. If things get twisty, we've got Vanderbilt and Tennessee are tied 7-7. LSU's not doing its part early on, just 10 offensive yards, but they're trailing 3-0. More importantly, Auburn, Alabama tonight. If things get chaotic tonight, we might have to come back, recap really quickly, and more importantly, kind of go through the TMS top 12. But Ohio State or the field. And Tucker, I was saying FanDuel, What are the FanDuel odds now to win the national championship? Compared to, I guess, I'm sure they've gone up or gone down, however you want to look at it. So let's see. I'm going to pull up my app, FD Sportsbook, by the way. If you love our show, then you gotta be a FanDuel guy or girl. Cole Marie. Here we go. National championship odds plus 170. Okay. Indiana's number 2 at plus 490. Why I love Signetti. I love that team. I think they're capable of making a little run. I just couldn't put my money behind Indiana at plus 490. But then it's interesting. Georgia, 800, Notre Dame, 1,000, A&M, 1,000, Oregon, 1,200. Like, those are long odds compared to plus 170. They are a massive favorite. So FanDuel has spoken. And I kind of tend to agree. 76% on the early voting for Ohio State versus the field. Anything else in this game you want to get to, Mensch?
I think we're good here, man. I mean, again, I'm very impressed with top to bottom the organization of Ohio State and how they handled it to go on the road. And I thought Ryan Day did exactly what he needed to do to kind of exercise those demons.
I'm glad you mentioned Heartline too.
Yeah, I mean, I just thought, look, and that was the whole discussion last year. They just kept trying to run the ball with those two talented backs against a talented Michigan offense, and they never really opened it up. And I thought that Heartline had a great balanced game plan for them today.
How about being a first-year starting quarterback on the road, game turns to snow, but that's not even the factor. Throwing an interception early on, Michigan, that crowd, the third largest stadium in college football, that crowd, that history, even though it's none of your history, but you sense it in the building, you sense it from the staff, you know that no player on that roster today, Steve, had beaten
zero. I couldn't believe that.
Not one
Zero players would win. Yeah. Wow.
And to be like, yep, I got this, no problem. 19 for 26, 233 yards, 3 touchdowns, and that one early pick that he bounced back from. And he did it. It was Tate had the one long catch, but he had 5 for 82. Jackson getting involved in the run game, as I mentioned, as the spotlight player of the day, 4 for 49. Jeremiah Smith had the one touchdown catch. 2 other catches, finished 3 for 40 with a touchdown. Kazmarek, the tight end. Claire, the tight end, they combined for 5 catches for 50 yards. Brendan Innes, 2 for 12 with a touchdown. So he distributed it. They don't have a ton of guys, but the guys they have are just better than yours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Julian Sane looks like he's all of 12.
Yeah, your name said, not that this game matters. Your name 7608. I get the $4 going. And even though this show's, a lot of people are going to listen and watch the show after, and we appreciate everyone watching on YouTube. Would you please give it a like and a subscribe? Appreciate everyone on watching and listening. Follow. Everyone watching and listening on Spotify. And everyone who's listening on Apple and anywhere else you get your podcasts. And I recognize that most people are going to wind up absorbing this content after these games, but it is an absolute blizzard. It looks like in Minnesota right now.
I'm seeing that now. That looks awesome. Awesome.
I got the $4 going. A beautiful day in Norman, Oklahoma. You got Tennessee. You got the Tennessee teams going. Vandy at Tennessee and Knoxville. Looks like a nice day there. Probably a little chilly. You're out in Washington for Oregon, Washington. 3-0 game in that. And then you go down to the bottom left of my $4 and it's just a blizzard. I love games this weekend. All right. Let's get to quickly. I just want to quickly mention, and we'll get to the TMS top 12 and we'll see if we have to revisit that. While I'm doing this, Mensch, is BYU UCF over? Give me a quick update on that.
They must be over. Let me find it.
Yeah, they probably finished. I think they started
41-21. So
they pulled away. They were starting to pull away
after UCF jumped them in the first quarter, 14-0.
Yeah, and it was 14-14. Then it was 17-14 at the half. Get BYU out of there, and they'll do what you saw Texas Tech with that massive win against West Virginia.
Handling business.
Was it 59-0 or something crazy?
49-0. Yeah,
49-0. Must be 21 plus and present in select states. For Kansas, in affiliation with Kansas Star Casino, or 18 plus and present in DC, Kentucky, or Wyoming. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rg-help.com. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut, or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 1-800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts, or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York.